you guys will just have to figure that out when it comes. But she looks interesting. They buffed AP Gragas. He has a 0.1 ratio increase on Q and a 0.2 on the W. Also, Drunken Rage now grants Gragas an additional damage reduction equal to 4% per 100 ability power. So maybe people play mid lane Gragas, depending on like how good the wave clear actually is with the barrel. But I think this is more of a buff to AP jungle Gragas, where you get the Luden's Echo and you get like the what is it? Whatever, the one-shot build. You just go for like one-shot, and like this is just gonna make it to where you can like legit just one-shot anybody. I think if you actually get a decent amount of AP. So maybe people will be playing some AP Gragas jungle with this. I could see it actually being pretty decent. Or you could go like a pseudo like tank AP build where you go like the AP jungle item, and then you go like some like hourglass and like a health item and things like that. I could see that also being good. Or maybe like a double flat pen build, and you could just play them sort of like Elise. And then they buffed Elise. They gave like 10 more damage on the Q, and Cocoon now has a shorter cooldown. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Elise, I don't think it's gonna do anything. Elise is the same champion. She's still just booty. She's just like overshadowed by like every champion right now. They buffed Hecarim's W by 10% more healing. Wowzers. That's insane. Actually, that does nothing. And Hecarim still, his problems are his early game is really bad, and he gets hard countered by tabbies. So, probably not going to be seeing any Hecarim. That doesn't change anything. Ivern, they gave him 200 more range on his Bushwhacker, fixed the bugs on a Q, and now ultimate auto target's a little bit better. This does literally nothing to Ivern, exact same champion. Karthus, they increase his base damage on his Q by 10, which means 20 if it's isolated. I think that's actually a decent buff. Like 20 damage on your Q, that's pretty good. That's something to shake a stick at. Like that's gonna make it to where it's a lot easier to last hit with like your early ranks in Q, and like also some of the early Q trades are like gonna be pretty good. But they did nerf Presence of Mind, which is one of like the main reasons that Karthus is able to lane so strongly, because you can all in off Presence of Mind pretty hard. But I think overall this is a buff to Karthus, and I think that I like to play Karthus into some matchups top lane, and then maybe sometimes mid lane. But I think Karthus is like okay. Like he's like not bad if you know how to play him. I think this is like a decent buff. It's not gonna like put him in a competitive play, but he'll be like, he's there. He's Karthus. Cain, they made it to where now your pre 10-minute kills and damage now increase your meter for Darken a lot faster, and then your post 10 minutes will change at a different pace. So this is a really good buff to Cain, because right now like the only way to play Cain is just to like try to steal the Raptors over and over again. And if you like even get kills in the first 10 minutes, it doesn't do anything. Like you don't get any meter. Like the only thing that matters is your kills after 10 minutes, and it's just really annoying because like it doesn't promote early game play. And then on top of that, Cain is just weak as shit anyways. So I don't know. I think Cain is really feast or famine, and depending on like how much meter you actually get off of this could push Cain into being relevant. Like if you get like 2 kills and it fills like over half your meter in the first 10 minutes, then I think Cain will be viable, or like even doing damage like that. But I think like right now as it stands, doing damage pre 10 minutes is just like completely useless. So, and this is just a quality of life change. So depending on how high this actually increases, like it could either mean Cain's relevant or he's still just like a piece of crap like he's always been. Leona defaults to auto attack damage as her default adaptive stat. That doesn't do nothing. Lux, they changed her cooldown refund on kill, and now the way it like also procs, like you have 1.75 seconds after it hit to also give you this refund, which is really nice. But I don't think this fixes any of Lux's problems, where she basically Lux like isn't very good at roaming, and she's like slow, and like she dies really easy to a lot of stuff, and like her ways of getting lane priority is like pretty weird too. So she still has like a lot of weird issues as a mid laner. Like of course she's a poke champion, but she is like, I don't know. I think it's just Lux is a hard to play champion, and she doesn't have that many good matchups. So I think she's exactly the same champion as she was before. Nice little changes to her refunds and stuff, but not that big a deal. IMO. Malphite. Basic stats, now he has more attack damage per level. Not bad. Ground Slam now has a 0.4 AP ratio. not bad, but I'm not really sure what you would build on him to get the good ground slam outside of what, like Hourglass or something, or maybe like a flat pen build. I don't know. And then now Unstoppable Force actually has like a pretty sizable chunk off of the ultimate, which I think like one of the problems with Malphite and later in the game as it goes, like let's say you compare Malphite to a champion like Ornn, right, or Sion. Sion has a 36-second cooldown ultimate at max rank, like with max CDR. That's disgusting. Like when you compare it to like 100-second cooldown, you know, plus CDR obviously. So the lowest you get this is like in the 50s or whatever if you have ultimate hat. So it's like basically Malphite's problem has always been as a tank is that he doesn't do anything when his ultimate's not up. So like let's say you make a pick and you kill somebody. Let's say you pick off their ADC, right? And you want to go do Baron and you use Malphite ultimate to get that kill. Then you go to Baron and then it's like, all right guys, let's turn off a Baron. And then you're just like absolutely worthless because like you don't fucking do anything. So now with this change, it's going to allow you to actually get your ultimate down to that really low cooldown. What would it be? It'd be like 40%. So that's like, I don't know, 50, and then ultimate hat. So it'd be in the 40s. So it's possible that you can actually like get off multiple ultimates in extended fights and like on picks and things for objectives. So this change could make Malphite actually relevant, even in a competitive sense, if his laning is like actually decent. I don't know how his laning is the problem. Like he has his lane matchups are very weird. So I'm sure he'll be like, this is definitely like substantial buffs to Malphite though. So we'll see how this pans out. I think he'll be like pretty decent after these changes. Nocturne, they buffed his trail by 5. It's like nothing. Same champion. Ragnarok now does not give you that juicy 50% movement speed running towards an enemy right off the bat. Now it's just more like 20%, which is like, ugh. But still, Olaf's like still pretty strong. Like not that, I don't think this is like that huge of a change. I mean, obviously like losing that movement speed is bad, but I think if you have Predator, you're still just gonna be able to like run people down and shit. So I think it'll be alright. Just quality of life changes for Quinn. It's whatever. I haven't even seen a Quinn on the new patch, to be honest. Minor buffs to Rengar and quality of life changes. These don't really change him that much, to be honest. I think he's still the same champion. They made Rumble do 175 damage now in his early game Q and 135 when it was 135 before. So I think that this may potentially open up Jungle Rumble to being viable again because he actually has like way more damage on his early Q, so you can actually clear the jungle and shit. And I think that Lane Rumble might see like a decent buff off of this as well. Like Rumble is one of the lowest win rate top laners in the game right now, so I think this is like definitely gonna be something that like pushes him a little bit more into where he needs to be. And I think that maybe even you will see like Jungle Rumble a little bit, so could be possible. Jawani, they lowered her health growth by quite a bit, 7 down on that. So if you do the math on that, that's about 100 health that she's not going to have in higher levels. And then also the permafrost, the stun duration got chipped down by 0.6. I think that these are like really huge nerfs to Sejuani, and these might be like the straw that breaks the camel's back that brings her out of competitive play. I personally think that with these nerfs, there's no reason to ever play Sejuani when like Zac is up, so or Skarner. So I think that like Sejuani is gonna fall down the table like pretty hard when it comes to tanks, and I don't know. I just don't see people playing her as much as they did before. Like I would even rather play like Nunu in a competitive game than Sejuani. Like these are really big nerfs, in my opinion. Mainly like the E stun duration and the health. The health growth's like nasty, but it's like not the thing that breaks it. I think it's just the stun duration is just really bad. Shaco, they made it to where now basically Shaco's next base attack within. Well, basically now like when you play Shaco, you have to immediately backstab them with the Q in order to get the damage instead of like being able to walk around for a little bit and get like that juicy backstab damage. So yeah, and reduce the deceive cooldown. So that's a nerf, and then also like the bonus attack damage got nerfed quite a bit as well. So like these are like pretty substantial nerfs back to Shaco. These are like kind of putting him back where he was before the nerf to Dustblade, in my opinion. So I think Shaco, like if you're a B Shaco, he'll still be like fine. But I think that like definitely big nerf to Shaco here. And I think that like people who don't really like main this champion probably won't be playing him anymore. Swain, everybody knows Swain's like super broken, like perma ban. They made the cooldown not so abusable in the early ranks. Still the same at max rank, and then they nerfed the base damage by 10. So Still think Swain's going to be obnoxious and really good, but a little bit less, like, unfucking stoppable in his early lane phase. Warwick fixed a bug where sometimes Warwick would deal damage twice. I've seen that happen before. That's kind of weird. Doesn't happen that often, though. Then Zed, they nerfed Dustblade, as you know. So now they made it to where Razor Shuriken damage to units beyond the first deals a whopper-rooney 10% damage. 10% more damage! That doesn't do anything for Zed, in my opinion. Unless you're like wave clingers, I don't know. Against his Rage Blade, it costs 300 more gold now, as it should, because this item is like stupid broken once you get some items to back it up. I think this is definitely a worthwhile nerf. I think the item is still fine, though. Locket of Iris Solari, they nerfed the base shield, and the shield per target level also got lowered, but now it scales more off of, what is it, just a flat 20%? Wow, they just, like, nerfed the fuck out of this item, to be honest. Wait, they just, like, super nerfed Locket. That's a pretty big nerf, actually. Damn. I guess, like, Locket might not be the go-to in a lot of scenarios. It's just a big nerf overall to Locket. That's interesting. Pretty interesting. So, I think that this item just won't be the go-to on all support. I mean, it'll still be fine in some scenarios. I mean, obviously, it's nice to have a Locket on your team, always, especially that AoE damage, but I think that it definitely got, like, a bit of a nerf here. So, yep. Probably not going to be like the go-to on every support. I'd probably just rather build Zeke's than this item in most cases. Ninja Tabby's got the base armor nerfed on it by 10, and then now actually reduces 2% more auto attack damage. So what that means is that I think at later ranks, like later in the game, like, you know, when auto attacks are doing like 1,000 plus damage, then that 2% is actually going to outvalue that 10 armor. But in the early and mid game and also against lethality, I think that it definitely got nerfed. So, pretty big nerf for ADCs and things like that, which I really like because, I mean, Ninja Tabby is just a broken item. It just always has been. Like, it just cucks too many champions. And you should never be able to build it. I don't think it should be a viable option on ADC to just, like, auto-win you to shit. So, yep. That's pretty much it. And then, aura items. Some champions got so big that they covered the whole space of their auras, rendering them pretty pointless to purchase for those champions that auras now increase size alongside the champion. You'll notice that Frozen Heart isn't in here. No champion ever got big enough to invalidate the aura. Following auras now increase in size as their users increase in size. So Bomby Cinder, Sunfire Cape, Forge Fire Cape, Cinderhold, Abyssal Mask, Infernal Mask, Righteous Glory, Proximity Check. Okay, so maybe people will actually be able to build Abyssal Mask on Cho'Gath now and Scion. So God bless, because that item was like bugged for that whole patch. It was like unviable. Relic Shield now gives only 1 gold per 10, and Targon's Brace also only gives 1 gold per 10, and then the Remnant of the Aspect also only gives 1 gold per 10. I think this is going to like pretty heavily kill Relic Shield on most supports. I already started to build coin on a lot of melee supports, and I think that, to be honest, with these gold changes, I see absolutely no reason not to just build coin on every single tank support at this point. I just don't see how like Targon's is like viable anymore after these gold nerfs. It's just like from 4 to 1, that's an enormous gold nerf. So I just don't see that item being viable anymore. And then Resolve Tree, basically it just gives more health now. That's pretty much it. The early burst of tankiness Resolve gives it much truer, the early durability is too strong. We're taking someone's early game power and shifting it to late game. So yeah, it's just scaling now, which I think is like not bad. You know, I'm down to have 300 extra health, you know, in the late game. Like that's how it's going to go down. But I don't think anybody does take Inspiration and Resolve or yeah, I don't think anybody goes this combo. Or maybe they do. I don't really think people go that combo though. So it'll probably be like 15 to 135 health. That's what it's going to look like. And now Manifold Ban is hitting enemy champions with a spell grants 25 maximum mana up to 250. And then cooldown is 15 seconds. Upon earning 250 mana, Manifold Ban restores 1% of your missing mana every 5 seconds. So what is this, like an Anivia kind of thing? Maybe a Blitzcrank or a Taric or some shit. Beats me, dude. But I think this is like not too bad. Like I like the new Manifold Ban. I think it's pretty useful. Like that's pretty good. Like 250 mana, 1% of your missing mana every 5 seconds. That's like pretty reasonable. And then Presence of Mind takedowns restore 20% of your maximum mana and refund 10% of your ultimate's cooldown. So no more Presence of Mind Casting and running around just like one-shotting everybody. Sad times. I think this is overall nerf to the ability when it comes to like all-inning and things like that in big team fights, but I think that it still like has its place, and I think it'll still be good. Legend Tenacity now gives a total of 30% of 10 stacks, so that's like not bad actually. That's like pretty much Merc Treads, but they did nerf Ninja Tabbies on this patch, so that's kind of like a weird mix-up right there. I think this is like actually a decent mastery to go on some champions now. 30% is like, that's pretty decent. Like if they have a heavy CC comp, and I still want to build Tabbies or something, then I'd probably go with this Tenacity. Cut Down now gives 2% more damage. Whatever. It's maybe people go that more, I guess. Probably. I already saw ADCs going Cut Down, so. Zombie Ward, they nerfed it a little bit. I don't even think that many people are going Zombie Ward anymore in solo queue, to be honest. So this is irrelevant. Ever since they nerfed Chakra's Knife. Approach Velocity now gives 5% more movement speed. I think only Tom Kench took Approach Velocity from what I saw, so this is like, not too many people even take Approach Velocity. Absolute Focus now listed. Notice how much it gives in the description of level 1. Who cares? This is an interesting change on the patch. So melee minions now give 1 more gold base, but they don't scale up over time. And then caster minions now give 3 less gold and don't scale up over time. And then now they shifted all the gold over to siege minions. They give 15 more gold and have a 3 gold growth per every 3 waves. And they have more health too. So pretty much if you miss that cannon minion, you're going to be missing out on a lot of money. That's a lot of money, dude. That 60 gold cannon minion. That's crazy. And then super minions also give 60 gold. So pretty much like denying cannon minions is going to be pretty big nowadays. It's going to be scrapping in the lane over the cannon minions. So that's pretty much it. All right, guys.